Hi everybody, it's Amy at Crafty Cat, and I am here for a flip through of the Frost journal. It's finally done. This one took me a minute, I'm gonna say. So anyway, it is tab bound. So it has the 3 tabs, 2 tabs, 3 tabs, 2 tabs till you get to the end, okay? So it is 7 pages total as far as the boards, and it was originally a board book, a children's board book that I cut the spine off of because, you know, they're only about like that wide. So I was just worried that, I mean, this isn't even as fat as it probably could have been, and it's still quite fat. So I just don't think it would have ever fit on the original spine. So I cut the spine out and did the tab bindings. And because these are tab bound, there is some kind of fluidity, I guess you would say, to these. They're not as rigid as like a cardboard spine would be, and that's because they're, you know, little pieces of fabric that are holding it together. So that's just something to think about if you're going to use this type of binding. So I have collaged the whole front. This is a tag from the Frost kit, and then I've put like handmade rice paper or mulberry paper over the top, snowflakes. Over here I've done a fabric cluster with 2 crocheted snowflakes from my sister. I've even added faux snow to this journal. So there's a lot of the same elements, but I think the only digitals are my Frost digitals, and there's actually 3 of them because there's the Frost backgrounds, and then the Frost words. So yeah. So anyways, we go inside. There's a little tag pocket there and a tag here that goes in that tag pocket. And again, it's all collaged, spritzed with Tim Holtz faded denim spray oxide, whatever it's called. There's a couple of little journaling cards there in this little house pocket. This is actually from my black and white Christmas kit, but you could still do some writing on there. Those are the words from the Frost words. And here's a library pocket that we made together. Most of this there are videos for, and I'm pretty sure I've linked them all in the playlist. I think I called it Board Book Journal because I wanted to make sure people knew if they're looking for a board book. I didn't call it Frost Journal for that, so it's Board Book Journal. So there's that, and then over here we have another little pocket. This one is spoken for by Tamara, so it's your turn, Tamara, on the list. And yeah, so you get first dibs on this one, and I'll be contacting you on my Etsy. So. This was inspired by Louisa Heinzel. She did the, what is she called? Oh, that Defemorember. And she did a thing where she made the lace like stiff and colored it and all that, and I loved that. She turned it into a frame, so I just used that idea. This is actually printed on, well, it's not printed, it's on a piece of fabric. I just transferred paper onto the fabric. And then here's a tag that tucks behind this large snowflake that I got at Dollar Tree that's been like collaged. There's strings on it, and then it's all covered with white tissue. So it, you know, kind of holds all that down. But the whole thing is collaged, painted. I mean, yeah, it definitely took me a little bit to do this one. This pocket is one of my pockets, and it pops out from under her little arm muff there. And then there's a spot to write. You can write here. And then you kind of got to put it back in its little corner spot and back under her little muff there. And then we have, this is a flip that I added. It's an envelope. And there's a journaling card in the front here. Actually, this flips out too. I forgot about that. So it flips like this. You can write here. You could probably write here with black pen. The tag, and then there's another tag or journaling card, whatever, in the inside there. And that's just an envelope that I've cut down and put on there. I think that was an envelope, right? Yeah, I'm pretty sure. It's funny because by the time you finish some of these, it's been a while and you can't even remember how you did some of the first things. Here's my button tree. And you could definitely right here put photographs. That's another thing you could definitely do with this one, is put some photographs in it. But, you know, for the most part, it's just kind of an art piece. And this is that plaster that we did, those little plaster, using the plaster cloth pocket there. And this flips. This is in the kit, this pocket with the tag that goes inside. And I just added, you cut the window out. I'll put that back in later. You cut the window out. I did a piece of that kind of mulberry paper, snowflakes, and then there's acetate on the back of that the snowflakes are in between. So it just flips back and forth like that. This is just going to go along with it. I didn't put it anywhere, but it'll just be an additional little pocket. These you can write on, just two of the words from the Frost words, and we did this together for the 50 stack challenge for corrugated cardboard. And then this one we did not do together. This was a page I did on my own. And so I've taken the words from the Frost words because some of them are, as you can see, quite large. And so I've turned these two into pockets. These two up here are glued down entirely because I figured that's just not really enough room for much of anything. So those two are entirely glued down. But winter is a pocket, and there's this gentleman ice skating with the pillow on his bum. And that's in one of my winter kits. I have blue winter and winter past, I think. I can't remember, but they'll all be linked in the description box. And this is from one of those kits as well. Just turned it into a little tag to go in the snowflake one. And this girl was from the calendar that Rhonda sent me. So I just cut her out because she's on a sled. And that hat is, it's a lot to go sledding in, let me tell you. But anyway, I just love that. And there's a little fabric cluster and a acrylic snowflake there. And then that is the back. So she's complete and all ready to go to her new home. All right, so then what we're gonna do, I got a new mat and I'm so excited. It's like I don't even want to do anything on it because it's fabulous. Because my old one, although fabulous at one point, is no longer fabulous. So I'm going to try to do icky stuff or painty stuff on this. And I mean, I still cover it, but I always get paint all over it anyway. We're going to try to save the one for the days when we aren't doing as much of the painty stuff. So what I have now that we'll be working on is a grungy journal. And I have taken, this is Amazon packing. It's one of those envelopes that has the little foam kind of dots in between. And this is just one layer of it. But I gessoed it completely, and then I have stitched around the outside. And then I want to do some collage on the outside. I did start to ink it, but that's as far as I got. And then I'm going to put this, I think we did this for, it was, I'm pretty sure it was one of the, I saw it in Somerset Studio Magazine. It's either that or I saw it in Art Journaling Magazine, but it's this very grungy piece. So that will go on here. But first I want to collage and do some stuff to this. So that is what we're going to do. So how are you guys? I hope you guys are doing fantastic. I'm doing well. Just been busy today. It's been kind of crazy, hectic. I don't know. Not a super fun week. Just a lot of garbage to deal with that I'd rather not deal with, but I'm not going to bore you guys with that. But anyways. So I'm going to take some ground espresso and I'm going to dip my paintbrush right into it. I'm not even going to bother with the, you know, taking it out of there or anything, because I really just want it right out of there. And I thought we could kind of paint some things on here. sort of along the lines of that paper that we did, but also along the lines of the collage that's going on the front. So yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking. It could be a disaster, but then I guess I can just cover it over if it is. I want it to look too perfectly rectangular, so I'm going to kind of have it, you know, not perfectly rectangular. And then I think I'm going to do one over here. And a lot of this, again, will get covered because we have that great big piece that's going to go right on the front. And we'll just see what this ends up being like. It may be just wrong. Who knows? And then I'm going to spritz it a little. And we'll probably come back to that, but because I want to get some of the movement of that and the color thing that it does. I'm going to kind of do some lifting a little bit. I don't want to lift all of it. And I don't care that it went out and all that, because we're not going for perfect. We're going for grungy. So that's what we're trying to accomplish here is grungy. And then I put some black paint in this little dripper with, and if you'll notice the background on here, because I would paint one side and I would put it down on a piece of paper like this. Deli paper, it's just deli paper. And you can see it gets all over, and I would lift it up and you see the texture. That's just from doing that. And then I would do the other side, paint it and put it on there and lift it up and do the same thing again. And so that's how I got that kind of all puckered up texture that's on there. And then I have some black, just acrylic paint and water in a little dripper. I thought this might be easier than, I usually use the dripper, but I had a whole bunch of these and I thought this might be easier to give me, like I can put drops, or if I want, it's very thin, but I can even, I'm gonna just go all the way to the other side. And I can go ahead and just do a little water on there too, to get that moving around a little bit. I'll put some black dots. Just thought it might be easier to have it in this thing than, oh, nobody's gonna see that part. I mean, there's some parts I'm not sure if we'll get covered, but that I know is gonna get covered, so we don't need to do that. And we're going to add some paper to this too, but we're just starting out with a base to play with. Trying to think how else I want to do this. I cleaned everything, so I'm completely discombobulated, so don't mind me. Put stuff away and all that, and then I don't know where anything's at and feel lost. My little fountain pen, I don't know why I can't remember the name of these things. Yeah, it doesn't write so good on that, does it? Okay, well, this might not work for much, but it is making marks. It's just not very good. It's not as good as on this paper. I thought it would write. This is all gesso on here, so I thought it would write well, but it doesn't want to. So we'll do that, and then it'll just be nondescript. Okay, and then we can do maybe some other marks. Where is my, see, I'm so lost. This is why I don't clean anything up, because then I can't find anything. Oh my word. Well, hold on just a minute. Okay, I'm back. Sorry about that. I got this mostly dry, and what I was looking for was my stamp pad. I had put it away with my other stamp pads, so couldn't find it because I put it away. So now I'm going to stamp. And I was going to say, and I forgot when I started, and I just remembered, most of these ideas that I'm using today come from Annie's Abstract Art on YouTube. I have been watching a little bit of her channel when I can, because I love her ideas. She has great ideas. And I can always use help. And I'm doing mine, of course, different. It's just like the paint in the little bottles, and then these cool squares for backgrounds or rectangles. You know, sometimes you just need, like, I don't know, a little something to give you a new idea. This is wallpaper, and I've used this one before, but I do like the paint in the little bottles. That does definitely make life easier. This sort of just went to nowhere land, but it doesn't matter because it's just another texture, so I'm fine with it. And then another thing she did was this look of like sewn book page, which a lot of people have done sewn book page. It's not like that's that new, but it helped trigger it in my brain again. So thank you to her. Great, fantastic, wonderful ideas, and go check out her channel. And I'll try to remember to link it. If I forget, just tell me. I don't know her, but like I said, she does some cool stuff. So it just made me inspired to use some of the ideas. I'm probably going to leave the strings, I think. I might cut them off the bottom. Don't know yet. Haven't decided. But this one is going to be grungy, so we will be inking and fussing and doing all of that. So how are you guys? I think I asked that, but I forgot to say hugs and blessings. I need to say hugs and blessings to Lori, Fern. I have multiple Loris. So if you heard me say Lori recently, I have multiples. Fern, Celeste, I have 2 Celestes. Thank you to both. Nita, Joellen, and Tamara. Thank you guys so much for watching and commenting and all of those things. I really appreciate that. So I think I'll put that piece right there. I'm just going to use my PVA glue. Always fantastic when you see an idea that you're like, oh yeah, I could use that right now, kind of thing. Because sometimes I see stuff and then I forget about it because I'm like, oh, I'll have to do that, and then I just don't ever do it. So this was kind of fun because these are things that I need to, or am working on right now, and was needing some ideas for this cover because I just couldn't quite figure out what I want to do. Oh, that's paint, Amy. See, I knew I was going to do this. That one's paint. This one's glue. They have different tops, but I still got it messed up. I just want to glue these together because it was 2 book pages that I just ran through the sewing machine. Okay, and then I'm going to snip those threads a little. I've decided just a little, just to like sort of, you know, I still want them hanging down, but I don't really want them hanging off of the thing, I don't think. That's okay up there. And then I'm going to use some of this collage paper because it already looks kind of cool, So it's a painty collagey thing that we're doing on this one. And I'm not worrying as much on the front because, like I said, that big piece is going to go on there, so it's really pointless to worry about that. Or do I want it up here maybe? I think I want it up here. I can actually even, sorry, no, I've got glue everywhere. I can come across this spine a little bit because there is going to be a little bit of space there. This is okay because it just took up a little bit more of that Tim Holtz Distress Oxide, so that looks kind of cool. Yeah, I like that. And then what else? All kinds of bits and pieces here we could use. I don't want everything to be the same color, that's the only thing. A piece of this here. Then what I might do is very gingerly, when everything is 100% dry, put some, what's that stuff called? Matte medium over the top. I don't know, because I know it's going to pick up this color. So I'm not sure if that will work. But maybe I'll at least try to get it over these pieces. That's the only thing with mixed media, because you're using, obviously, mixed media. It can be tricky with the whole, how to make it all stay down. Actually, what I might do is just cover it all with tissue paper. That might work pretty good, because then you'll still be able to see it. Stamp, that might be fun. Airmail stamp. I don't know, will you even be able to see that? No. So that's not necessary. You can't even see all those little squiggly lines. You really can't see any of that. I might put that there. But I want something over here. I might come back in with that paint. Since you can't see this one, maybe we'll do another one. We'll come all the way. And if it doesn't touch all the way, that's okay too. And I don't know how to say, I barely put any black in here and then put water to about there, and then I did end up adding a little bit more black paint. It's pretty loose, as you can see. So you might want to make yours thicker if you make it. But I'm kind of liking this because it is like writing. You just can't, you don't squeeze it at all. You just very gently move it along like you're writing with it, but don't squeeze it because it's too watery. So I'll put that postage stamp there. I might put this right here, because then you will be able to see it even with that piece there. And I like these designs on here. I don't really have anything exciting to talk about. Just have had family stuff and daughter's roommate's moving. She's just really torn up about it. So it upsets me because, you know, and that's, I mean, it doesn't matter. It's just, that makes my brain think. And you guys know, if you're at all completely neurotic like I am, then I don't know, the silliest things can stress me out, but anyways. So I think I'm just kind of quiet today, but that's just the way it is sometimes. This is the white. And I did the same thing as I did with the black. I'm just going to kind of put and it's picking up the brown from the that stuff, the Tim Holtz ink. And that one was ground espresso, or not ground, is it ground espresso? Yeah, ground espresso. Wow, I actually remembered the name right. It's like, you know, the stuff that Tim Holtz sells, you know. This is from my embroidered digital. I keep grabbing this, but then it really does need some liquid to stick to that gesso. But I don't want to just put this on because sometimes you can see the lines and I don't like that. It wants to lift, and that is not okay. I think we'll put it this way. It would probably be best if you do anything like this to let things dry in between, but I've already paused you guys a couple of times, and yeah, it's just, I don't want to keep doing that. But yes, I would definitely probably let it dry. That would be smart, a smart thing. This is my faux cello tape or whatever you want to call it. I don't know if I want that. I think I want to try one of these Panda Fly gel pens because they work very well. Just have to get it going. Once it gets going, it's good. Usually. Just to make some other marks on there. And you could even just try not to poke holes in it. Can't really see those on that one. But it looks cool on the brown part. I have this too. I did that plaster like I told you guys, and then I used Rub and Buff. And I know it's usually used for like other kinds of crafting, but it's gold leaf Rub and Buff waxed metallic finish. And I'm sure this is not at all archival safe at all. But I just wanted to see how it would work on the plaster. So I put pieces of plaster down. I did stamp some of them, and I don't know how well you can see the kind of scroll design. But the Rub and Buff is really cool. This was sort of just a trial for me to play around with. But I might use some pieces of this. This isn't even plaster. This is just a piece of paper, and then I put gesso thick, kind of thick for my finger on there, and then stamped it and did the Rub and Buff. So that works out cool too. So yeah, but anyways, I might use a piece of this. I just don't know where I want to put it. It's this one. And I could totally like cut this up into tags and stuff like that. I mean, obviously you might want to cut where the, maybe not directly across the plaster. I don't even know, because I haven't, I mean, I think it would come apart fairly easily if you really wanted it to, like, yeah, see, so you could definitely do that. And then I like the strings too. I do like that plaster. It is really fun to play with, and it's a little messy, but really it's no worse than like paint. I mean, it does get the dust, but you can just vacuum that up. So I don't know. To me, it doesn't seem any worse than any other crazy things we do, but obviously if it's not your thing, it's not your thing. And I get that, because there's things that aren't my thing, so I completely understand not wanting to do it, but it is fun. And it's thin. I mean, this piece is thin. Granted, I only used one piece. I'm not stacking them a whole lot or doing any of that, so you can see though it's very thin. I might bring it down a little bit more. Maybe like right there. So the Rub and Buff works pretty good, but that's another one of those. I don't worry a ton about archival and all that. I did when I did scrapbooking, and I probably would more if I was doing photos and things like that of family and stuff, so I get people wanting that. So I'm not knocking anybody. I just don't worry about it as much when I junk journal, because really so many things we use. I mean, if you're using packaging that has the films and stuff on it, I mean, none of that stuff's archival safe. So I just don't worry about it that much with this, but I totally get it. If you are concerned about that, that probably isn't the stuff for you to be using. But either is masking tape or any of the crazy stuff that we end up using. Junk journaling, I feel like. It's definitely different than like the way I learned scrapbooking. I really like that. That looks cool, I think. I like the way that tears. It tears very easily. Like, I'm shocked at how easy that tears. Do I want any up here? I could put a piece over there. And I did get pages together. This one's going to be the brown packaging, brown paper packaging, which I'm sure you can probably tell. But the pages and everything, there's a few pages that are other stuff, but for the most part, it's brown packaging. Oh, my hubby's home. Hubby's home. He went to work at like 6:30 this morning, and he's gonna be tired because it's like 4 o'clock. He normally doesn't do that. He usually just goes in for a couple hours. But I think they're getting busy again it kind of dies down a little bit right after the holidays. Okay, let's use I'm not going to worry about what date it is. Change it and do another different date. Okay, I think I'm gonna stop and get it dry. Oh, I'll show you really quick. So I'm just using, that'll get sewn into this, the thin packing paper that's almost like paper, and then I have like a piece of that gray packing paper, and then I have like deli paper because it's crinkly, and then that's some of that Manilla Drawing paper. And that's some, I think that's the clove dyed paper that my sister gave me. I think that's what that is. If not, it's from Betty Ann. There's handmade paper, and there's another piece of that. And that, so it's 12 pages, and you know, we'll add stuff to it, but you don't want to make it too thick because then you'll have a problem. So I think I'm going to stop there, and then I can decide when it's dry if I want to put like more things. See, a lot of other stuff isn't going to get seen, so I feel like there isn't really a point in putting anything else with that. And then I don't know about the inside yet. I haven't gotten that far, but I wanted to bring you along for the start of this cover, and of course the flip through of the Frost Journal. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. I hope it wasn't too much of a train wreck, and we'll chat with you again soon. Love ya. Bye.